Everybody, welcome back to another episode of Clarity Comes Later. I am your esteemed host, Natalie, and I'm halfway done with my drink already. Got me a little espresso martini just to, get sexy, get cute. It's going to go with today's topic. So, first and foremost, I wanted to thank everyone who has seen or heard the first episode under this new podcast rebrand. I really appreciate it. So many people reached out to me and they were so supportive and excited for me, and that really means a lot to me. So thank you, and we're back for another episode. This week, I wanted to talk about this whole concept of soft girl energy and waiting for someone to put you in your feminine and put you in that soft position, that soft life that you want. Girl, like, I am so sick of this shit. It's so fucking annoying. Y'all just getting me tight. Truly. So let's get into it. I was on social media last week and I saw a thread post, and the post says, it's going to hurt a lot of women to find out the soft life they so desperately want doesn't come from a man at all. Only you can create this kind of life for yourself. If a man is the reason you're out of survival mode, he can easily put you back in. Get yourself out of survival. That way no one can take that soft, healthy, happy life away from you. Yes. I cannot tell you how much I hear this. A woman saying that she is waiting for a man to put her in her soft girl energy, her feminine energy, her soft life. If you are already thinking like this, you are extremely deluded. No one can put you in that space. I was the softest that I ever was when I was single, when I was dating no one. I wasn't calling, texting. I was not expecting anything, so therefore I was not disappointed by anything. There was no arguing with anyone. I was really in my bag when I was single. Now that I'm in a relationship, I'm a little bit more like, just going with the flow, doing things with my partner. For the most part, when I was single, I was really pouring into myself, and I felt the most feminine and the most soft during that time. I was able to really get clear on how I wanted to feel in my relationships. And that's what helped. And I can honestly say that I've maintained that soft girl energy. And, I do want to make it very obvious that we are in a society that is very different than how our parents were raised. More women go to college, become successful, and get high-paying jobs. And they're able to afford a lifestyle that they probably wouldn't have been able to in the 70s, 80s, early 90s, even early 2000s, right? And there's a lot of women who are single, and they are very independent and financially independent. And I like to think of myself as one of those women as well. I have a career. I also have a part-time job. So financially, I'm set. When I first moved into my own place, I was taking care of everything on my own. I was doing everything from the chores to errands, working, paying bills, cooking, cleaning. When you're doing everything on your own, it's very easy to get into that mindset of, I don't need a man. What do I need a man for? I can do everything on my own. And that kind of attitude, if it's not checked, can be very toxic when you do meet someone. So I want to start this episode by saying this episode is for the women who are feeling like they want a healthy relationship, but you may not know exactly what that means or looks like for you. And you may have this whole idea of, I'm waiting for someone to make me soft and feminine and nice. But until then, I'm going to continue being a bitch. If you are this person, I hope that you walk away from this episode with just a little bit more insight, a little bit more clarity, and you're able to make some adjustments in your attitude moving forward. So first and foremost, I just want to say that if you are in an environment where you are constantly being triggered, arguing, fighting, crying, you feel like you always have to be on defense, that is not the environment for you. And that could be a romantic relationship, a friendship, a family dynamic. If anything in your life is keeping you from that soft, feminine life that you want, you need to make adjustments. I don't know what those adjustments would mean. It's a case-by-case thing, but you need to make adjustments because you're never going to be able to relax and feel emotionally safe if you are constantly at war with people. If anything I'm saying throughout this episode, you feel like I can't do that, that's not real life for me because this is what I'm dealing with, then it's time to address those elephants in the room before you can even think about being in some type of soft, loving relationship with someone else. This episode is going to have a very interesting angle because there is so much dialogue out there about that already, right? In order to be soft, you need to be soft with you first. In order to love properly, you need to love yourself first. I feel like that's a no-brainer. And if you don't get it by now, I don't know what to tell you because I don't want to talk about that today. Today, I want to talk about how being a bitch to your man doesn't make him love you more. That's the angle we're going with today. You want a soft man, but you are chaotic. You're asking for effort. You're asking for affection. You're asking for emotional stability. You're asking for consistency, but you're giving attitude, control, and conditional love. Oh, you didn't do this for me, so I'm not going to do that for you. You say you want a romantic man, but you don't create the space for romance. You want to feel prioritized, but you shut down when things don't go your way. Being hard to love is not a flex. It's emotional sabotage. Being the type of woman that says, I need a man that can handle me. He needs to have a strong personality and he just needs to suck it up and be able to deal with me. If that is your mentality, you are never going to have the respectful relationship that you want. And that's just the reality of it. And you can say you don't give a fuck, but I promise you, you do. There are women when I have this conversation with them, well, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I'm going to keep talking my shit. And I'm going to keep bashing men and I'm going to keep being difficult because a real man is just going to handle it. No, a real man is going to see the chaos that you are as a woman and he's going to leave. It's a common sense thing. Why would anyone who has all of these things going for themselves, man or woman, tolerate disrespect, tolerate chaos? You become a liability when you're like that. And when someone has to do things in real life, right? They have to go to work, make money. They want to invest. They want to build a house. They want to travel. They want enriching experiences. They cannot afford to have you come along and ruin that for them. You're throwing them off balance. You're distracting them. You're chaotic. And it becomes emotionally taxing to deal with. I want to get into my next talking point. You say you want a soft man, but you don't make softness safe. Men withdraw when they feel like the emotional climate of their relationship is out of order. And it doesn't always have to be physical. You may be a woman that keeps her hands to herself. You're not creating a physically violent environment for them, but it doesn't matter. It can be emotional tension. It could be the way you reject his efforts. It can be the way that you're petty and he doesn't know if you're ever going to turn your back and betray him and do something disrespectful because you're upset that you didn't get your way on something. And other reasons why men withdraw. They feel unappreciated. They feel like nothing they do is good enough. They feel controlled. They don't feel trusted. And every time they make an attempt to show you their love and their effort, you always have something to critique them with. Or there's some type of skepticism like, oh no, this is too good to be true. You really like me? You really did this for me? Why would you do that? It's like nobody wants to deal with that. Nobody wants to deal with that. And if you had high self-esteem in the first place, you wouldn't be questioning why someone is showing up for you the way they are. I've even seen and heard my own friends get upset that their man took them on a date, but it wasn't the exact restaurant they wanted. Or their man got them a nice, small, thoughtful gift, maybe something really heartfelt. And because it wasn't expensive, because it wasn't exactly what they wanted, then it's not good enough. And they make the man basically feel like shit for doing it. There was a study published in the Journal of Couple and Relationship Therapy, and it found that men in relationships with high emotional tension and low positive reinforcement showed a 39% drop in their romantic effort over the course of 6 months. That is crazy. And I think that a lot of women feel like if they are in a feminine space with their man, that they're going to be weak and their man is going to take advantage of them or try to control them. And if you are in a relationship where you feel that the minute you put your guard down, your partner is going to disrespect you or walk all over you, maybe that's not the partner you need to be with. Like I said in the beginning, a lot of you cannot be soft because you're in toxic environments that do not cultivate softness. So if you are in that type of relationship, get out. But if you know that you aren't, get out of that thought that if I'm soft, I'm going to be taken advantage of. No, you're not. You need to heal the parts of you that think that, because that's not healthy. A feminine woman isn't weak. She's emotionally present and she's safe. It looks like letting your guard down. It looks like asking for help without feeling guilty. And it looks like not turning vulnerability into shame. Be vulnerable and allow your partner to also be vulnerable with you and create space for that. And that's a beautiful thing. And that's what you want in a healthy dynamic. If you want your forever partner, you guys are going to go through so many things. You both need the space to say when you're stressed out, to say when you're unhappy, to say when you're sad, and to cry if you need to cry. But that's how a healthy relationship is able to thrive, when there is emotional space for vulnerability. Another point is stop using standards as a weapon. A lot of what we call standards today comes from social media. Fear-based ultimatums. If you do this, then I'm breaking up with you. If you do that, then you're not a good partner. You'll see a man fly his girlfriend to Paris, and now because your man didn't take you on a luxury vacation, he's not good enough. And then you have this whole, if he wanted to, he would. That becomes a weapon. It becomes a weapon because now whenever he doesn't do anything, forget that he has his own life. Forget that he may have a lot on his mind and he may drop the ball on something, or he's going through his own emotional shit and he can't 100% be there for you in that moment. Now all of a sudden, instead of you being understanding that he's a human, being understanding that he has other shit to focus on for that moment, now it's like, oh, you didn't do this, so you don't love me, I'm not a priority, we can't be together. Where's the understanding? Where's the acceptance of him being another human being in this life with you and having his own shit to deal with? Where's the compassion? Where's the grace? But you want a soft life? You want to be in your feminine? That's not very soft or feminine. Wanting love and respect is not the problem, but feeling entitled to a man's performance without reciprocating is the problem. It's like, do you want a partner or do you want a production? Now I want to talk about how you can reset the energy without losing yourself. You just have to stop fighting everything that's trying to love you. When I started dating again after I was single and I was a little bit more clear on what I was looking for, I focused a lot on how I was feeling during that time. I felt at peace. I felt emotionally safe. I felt stable. For once in my life, after dating and being in like situationships and other toxic relationships, I felt the most stable I had ever felt. And when you're stable, you're able to really think clearly and be very specific about what you want for your life, your future, and your future partner. And I knew it was more important for me to find a partner that made me feel that peace, safety, love, and that attention that I was giving myself. I don't need someone for money, but I do want someone who complements how I live my life and complements my emotions. I'm emotionally stable and so are you. And that's what I want. And I didn't want to be in a relationship with someone where I felt like I had to be fake or beg them for the bare minimum or beg them to put any effort into our relationship. That's just not the type of relationship I wanted. And I realized you don't have to beg or be fake. You just have to stop fighting everything that's trying to love you. So something that I started doing, I acknowledge effort out loud, even if it's the smallest bit of effort. I acknowledge it out loud and I say thank you for everything. My man is like, babe, you don't have to thank me for that. Like, you don't have to thank me for washing the dishes. Yes, I do, because I remember being in relationships with men who would never help me with anything. And that's not fun. And I also let my man do things for me. I let people do things for me in general. You want to do it? Go right ahead. You don't mind? Fantastic. Neither do I. And receive it. Just receive it. Not, oh, I can do this on my own. I don't need you. I didn't ask you to do that. You don't have to ask. Isn't that the point? You said you wanted a soft life. You said you wanted to be feminine. Let them do it. Receive it. And just say thank you. Be cute. And my last point is, you don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be self-aware. Stop saying that you want love if you keep throwing shade at everyone who tries to give it. And if your man is making mistakes, correct it with care. Correct it with love. Like, hey, babe, I noticed that you did this, and thank you so much. I truly appreciate that you even took the time out to do X, Y, and Z. But maybe next time we can try blah, blah, blah. You don't have to be so emasculating and rude and dominating. And a lot of women are in this headspace of, well, I'm a princess and you got to do this and you have to show up for me like that. They're expecting so much that they don't even provide. And then the man doesn't even want to do it, because if he was to do it, you still wouldn't appreciate it. You would still have something negative to say. No one is perfect. And if you had a little bit more clarity on what it is that you wanted, then you could guide your partner a little bit better. There's nothing wrong with saying you have all of these amazing qualities, but you may be lacking on these certain things, but I'm your partner and I'm here to work with you on those things. As long as you're willing to work with me and learn, and we can grow together. Nobody is born knowing how to love. And you especially can't love everyone the same way, because we're all different. If you can acknowledge that, then you could also acknowledge that you're going to have to teach your partner how to love you in the ways that make you feel safe and comfortable, and vice versa. If you want forever with someone, forever takes a lot of work. And if you're not willing to put in that work because you're concerned with how things appear to the outside world, or you're trying to compete with unrealistic standards from celebrities or your friends, they don't know how you feel and how you want to be loved. They also don't know your partner, and they don't know your dynamic. You're trying to compete with things and people that have nothing to do with you and will never be able to compete or compare with you. So again, if you are not ready for forever, if you're not willing to put in the work on your end to create that soft, beautiful love that you so deserve, because you do deserve it, then it's going to be hard for you and you may never find it. So I want to have a little mirror moment. I want you to think about one way you've made it hard for someone to love you, and one way that you can start softening that energy this week. I really want you to think about that. And if you want to share it in the comments or DM me on social media, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much again for tuning in another week, and I'll see you next time.